All right. I'm going to bring a young man. He's the head of the youth arm in this constituency. So welcome, Darren John.
Comrades and friends of Labour, good night. Comrades, they say that we young people are very impatient. They say that we are restless and we don't have respect for the passage of time. Well, comrades, I don't want to prove them right tonight, so I will try to keep this speech very short. Tonight, you will hear a lot about the long list of Labour accomplishments. Every speaker will come to this platform and rightfully so talk about the transformational leadership of Comrade Ralph Gonsalve. Of course, you will hear about the many success stories that have come as a result of the education revolution. You will also hear about pensions increase, the home help for the elderly, the YES program, the SET program, title deeds, home ownership, and any other number of people-centered, caring policies implemented by your Unity Labour Party government. But comrade, I don't want this to be business as usual. I want to do something a bit different tonight. I don't want to talk about what every other speaker on this platform will talk about. Comrades, I intend to take on an issue no other speaker on this platform can tackle, not even the Prime Minister himself. Tonight, comrade, I will discuss a topic on which I am the only national expert. Comrades, tonight, I am going to talk about my granny. Yes, my granny. I hear some of you laughing. Don't laugh. Remember this. Everyone has a granny. My granny died a few years ago. But while she was alive, like most granny in the history of the world, loved to tell stories. Yes, I heard them say, we young people are very impatient. But I am not entirely sure how true that is. Because I used to sit and listen to my granny tell stories for hours and hours without getting bored or falling asleep. My favorite stories were always the ones where granny told me about what things used to be like in St. Vincent when she was younger. All your young people have it so easy today, granny would say. Granny told me that my great-grandparents couldn't afford to send her to school. Her family was poor, so granny had to work hard to support the home. But that didn't stop my granny, and she taught herself to read. She always said that if she had the chance to go to school, her life would have been different today. Comrades, listening to my granny talk, you could tell that things were hard in Vincy back then, especially for young people looking for an education. Granny told me that back then, your family had to have money to be able to send you to school. She told me that back then, not many people made it to secondary school, that the country on a whole was in shreds. You hear that? My granny told me that St. Vincent and the Grenadines was in disaster under Eustace and the NDP. She says life was terrible under Eustace and the NDP. And I believe my granny. She says that many people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines were dirt poor, undernourished. Back then, wages in St. Vincent were the lowest in the entire Eastern Caribbean. Under the NDP, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was always in last place. Granny said that under Eustace and the NDP, that 1 out of every 3 homes did not have pipe-borne water or current. Granny said that under the NDP, most homes had pit toilets and public garbage collection was impossible unless your name was Eustace and you live in Kingston. Comrades, nobody have to tell me. My granny was there. She saw it with her own 2 eyes. She told me before she passed that only 2 out of every 5 eligible students were admitted to secondary school under the NDP. Comrades, lack of opportunities for professional advancement mean that only 4 teachers in the entire country had university degrees. And comrades, teachers made much less in their monthly salaries back then under Eustace and the NDP. My granny said that under Eustace and the NDP, our early childhood was inadequate. The National Library had been sold. Granny said it books packed away in an abandoned warehouse. Under the NDP, very few students received scholarship for tertiary education. And I don't want to talk about corruption. My granny told me that the NDP and their Otley Hall scam, Lord, granny say, money laundering. Money laundering was tolerated under the NDP. She said that because of poor NDP management, our national bank could not do business with any bank in the US. Comrade, could you imagine this? Comrades, when I used to listen to my granny talk about St. Vincent under the Grenadines, under Eustace and the NDP, only one word came to mind: backward.
You know I know hypocrite friend. It's how we tell all of the hypocrite.
My granny and her stories convinced me that we must never, ever go back to those horrible days when Eustace and NDP mismanaged this country.
Bad mind keep you distant.
And comrades, we won't go back. I know South Windward will never go back. Eustace wants to turn back the clock. We won't let him. He plans to tear down the progressive and beneficial policies of the ULP government. Eustace won't disturb the love. He can't. Why? Because love always conquers hate. Comrades, I am proud to stand on this platform of my granny's party, a party that has never given up on the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I am proud to have an honest, caring, humble African in Parliament speaking on my behalf.
Well, you know election coming, and I'm going to get licks. People are no longer falling for the NDP tricks. SVG is doing well, even a blind man can tell. ULP is doing well.
Comrades, I am proud that when I am a grandfather, the stories I will tell my grandchildren will be far different from the stories my grandmother told me. I will tell my grandchildren that under the ULP, the national wealth of this country nearly doubled. I will tell them I saw poverty significantly reduced, that average personal incomes have risen, and that we can boast the most educated and technological connected population that have ever existed in the history of this country. Comrades, I will tell my grandchildren about a prime minister named Comrade Ralph and about his government. I will tell my grandchildren how Ralph and the ULP rose to power and went quickly into action mode.
Keep the fire burning, but never give up on election day. When you vote in a party, remember to vote for the Labour Party all the way.
Comrades, I am a product of the education revolution. So don't be surprised that I will tell my grandchildren that education was always a top priority for the ULP government. I will tell them how Labour implemented a strong vision and plan for progress that results in revolution in the system of education in this country. I will tell them I knew a man named Ralph and that I was a member of a party that called ULP, and neither the man nor the party ever give up on the people of this country.
Education, this is the foundation.
And comrades, I will tell my grandchildren about love. Yes, love. About the special kind of love called labor love. I will tell them that labor love built Argyle International Airport. Labor love reduce poverty and reverse undernourishment in SVG. Labour Love and Labour Vision save Liat. Labour Love is an unprecedented number of tuition scholarship and other scholarship and bursary programs for university students. Labour Love is a multi-million-dollar Mount Wayne Peters Hope Hotel project. Labour Love is a provision for free education and training for our nurses. Labour Love is a student loan company and the economical disadvantaged student loan programs. Comrades, undoubtedly, Labour Love is a farmer support company and the lowest interest rate for farmers and fisher folks. Yes, Labour Love can be seen in the Youth Empowerment Service, the YES program. You can see it in the distribution of housing lots to the people at rock bottom prices. Labour Love is the Life to Live programs. Labour Love is the low income and no income housing project. Labour Love is job and wealth creation. Labour Love is the expansion of sporting facilities and spectacular initiatives in culture. Labour Love is the construction of golden care centers for our elderly. Comrades, the fact that young people like me today around this country can own a piece of land, that is also Labour Love. Comrades, that is what you can do when you believe in the people. That is what a government can accomplish when it is built on a solid foundation. Comrades, that's the power of Labour Love. So, forward we go. Comrades, we can't turn back. South Windward, forward with Gustus. Vinci, forward with Labour. Comrades, forward in love. 4 in a row. Thank you. Have a good night.
Something. This guy gave us so much food for thought. A young man, partner, Labour Love, with all them checks Ralph Gonsalves going to hand out at the college that and them condemn coming up soon too.